Seemingly overnight, the campaign signs have gone up on just about every corner around the valley, and there are some notable changes to our elections process this year. So Maricopa County Recorder Adrian Fontes is joining us this morning to talk about it. Adrian, thank you so much for giving us your time.
Thanks for having me, and happy to talk about this.
So I do want to ask, with all of the push for social justice that we've seen over the last couple of weeks, the protests, one big thing that everybody keeps saying, you've got to get out and vote. Do you anticipate a higher voter turnout this year, especially in those city elections?
You know, we've been planning for a higher turnout in 2020, even before any of the COVID-19 concerns or any of the other political or social justice concerns that have emerged. And we had a pretty robust plan moving into the season. January, February, we were making a lot of plans. Obviously, in March, we had to make some major adjustments very quickly. The new model, however, has given us an opportunity to really look carefully at how it is that we're going to make things happen better for voters. And I would argue that we're going to have the single most accessible election in the history of Maricopa County, even with the added turnout that we're expecting.
So let's talk about accessibility, because we are going to have the option to vote by mail. This has been a hot button issue nationwide. So what's that going to look like in Maricopa County?
Well, the ballot by mail process is already very, very robust. In fact, in the general election in 2018, we had something like a little over 80% of our total vote was by mail. So that's not unusual for Maricopa County voters. But the folks who decide to go vote in person, of which we're going to hope folks do, they're not just going to have one polling place on one day or the expanded 40 vote centers as we've had in the past. All of the polling places this time around will be vote centers, so you can go to any of them. Moreover, we're going to expand early voting up to 2 weeks prior to Election Day at least 50 of those locations, if not more, including nights and weekends. And all of this is to give voters more options. So I've been working very closely with the Board of Supervisors, with the county manager's office, with county health officials, with the county real estate department, even going out, acquiring places where we will be able to house plenty of voters indoors, not outside in the heat in lines, plenty of social distancing, and a lot of robust choices for folks to make plenty of time ahead so that we can have good, healthy turnout for the 2020 primary and general election.
That's a really important change that you're making, that people can cast their ballot anywhere, that it's no longer a designated area. Talk to me also about what Election Day is going to look like itself. If you do decide to go in person, it's going to look a little bit different because of COVID-19.
Right. Well, Arizona's got 27 days of early voting and always has. The thing is, we hear, from folks in the media, and the traditional conversation is around Election Day. And we've expanded that a little bit. Now we're expanding it a lot more. And so what is it going to look like when you get to a location? Many of our locations are going to be at places that are very, very familiar. We won't announce specifics until we've got ink on paper on those contracts. But they're going to be very large venues that people are very familiar with. They will have plenty of space indoors to stand 6 feet apart, plenty of social distancing, lots of PPE, cleaning materials, lots of signage, and really a lot more poll workers to help our folks stay safe if they decide that their option is to go vote in person. Obviously, we're going to be asking folks to continue to sign up for an early ballot, whether it's just this year or to the permanent early vote list, because that's going to make things a lot easier for everybody across the board. But if folks want to come vote in person, absolutely, we want to make that option available.
And you talked about PPE, and there are some things that there are points of contact that people typically share when they're casting their ballot, pens. I hear that you've made a little change to that, and also gloves.
Yeah, we're going to be announcing all of the specific processes as we move forward and get those plans out there public. I don't want to mix up any details right now, but we will be communicating very clearly with voters about the safeguards that we're taking, because look, it's just not the voters that we're protecting. We've got our own staff that's with us permanently, many of whom have been working for decades in the office. We've got our poll workers, a lot of whom have come forward and said, look, I want to participate, even though they know that there's a little bit of a higher chance for exposure, but they want to get out there. We're providing the training, the equipment, and the safer environment than what we have seen in other places. And so Maricopa County Recorder's Office and Elections Department together with the recorder, myself, and the board, we're all working together with county and other health officials to make sure that we do it and we do it right for Maricopa County voters.
So let's tell everybody to get their phone calendars up. You've got some important dates that you want everybody to pay attention to.
Absolutely, and I've got them pulled up over here on another screen. The last day to register to vote in the August 4th primary, not for the fall, the August 4th primary. Last day to register is July the 6th. So 2 days after Independence Day is the last day to register. We'll start mailing ballots out on July the 8th, and that's 27 days prior to Election Day. The last day to request a ballot to be sent to you is at the end of July, the 24th. And the last day to put it in the mail, also in July, that's the 29th. That's about 6 days before the August 4th election day. And again, very robust early voting. All vote centers, you can vote at any location we've got set up. We'll be putting more information out there, so we hope folks pay attention.
And on that note, I do want to point out that you are very active on social media. You have been providing links for anybody who's still concerned about the vote by mail process. And I also want to acknowledge that you put it out in both English and Spanish so that we reach everyone in the community. Adrian Fontes, Maricopa County Recorder, thank you so much for talking about this, such a critical topic for everybody to know, and we really appreciate your time.
It's my pleasure, and it's my honor to serve, and I hope the voters understand it's important to get out and vote. Our democracy depends on you.